Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of I Rise with Sal. Today on my show, we have Savita with us, and Savita is a recruiter at Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us, Savita.
Thank you for your time, Sal.
So Savita actually started off her career in finance, gaining her CPA degree. And while working in finance and on the job, she soon realized that she really enjoyed connecting people and had a knack for getting people on the right teams. That's when she switched over from finance to recruiting, talent management, and operations, and has over 15 years of work experience in the field, working at top companies, including Infosys, University of Virginia, Amazon Web Services, and more recently, Meta. She's someone that has managed to pursue a thriving career all the while raising a family, including two kids. And in this chat, Savita and I will talk about how she has navigated through her career, pivots and key decisions that she's made, all the while raising her family, and how her approach, on taking sabbaticals and what success truly means to her. Thank you again for joining us, and I'm really excited to chat about all of this.
I'm excited as well.
Diving straight into it, you're someone, when we chatted, you spoke about how you started your career in finance and then moved over quickly into the world of recruiting, and today you're at Meta, which so many people aspire to work there. Could you share your journey of how you got here and how it all began?
Yeah, sure. So, as you mentioned, I'm a CPA, so I was working on SOX audits and like going and implementing, doing implementations at different client locations, and it was a standard audit job, and I enjoyed that. But when I joined another company back in Pune, this was many years ago, they wanted me to kind of develop a team or build a team of consultants like myself to kind of go and get deployed to overseas projects. And that's when I started looking at resumes and seeing, okay, which are the ones that are qualified for this role, because I'd already executed a few projects in the US. And that's when I started talking to people, interviewing them to see whether they match the skill set or not, and all of that, and obviously build a team that had to be deployed here. So I realized that, okay, this is nice, because getting qualified talent into an organization is a big piece of how a company is built, right? And getting the right people is not easy. So it is this whole matching that needs to be done. The fit has to be correct and things like that. So I realized that that's something that I really enjoyed doing, and I was thinking maybe down the line I would probably do something similar if I'm given the opportunity. And so that was my first encounter with just recruiting as a role. And from there, as I started kind of building on my career, I took a sabbatical, as you mentioned. I took a sabbatical for 5 years, and when I wanted to kind of go back to work, I wanted to build on that. And when you decide, okay, what do you want to do after such a long break? Do you want to stay in finance? Do you want to explore something else? Because that was your only chance to do that. And I realized that I really, if I have to spend 40 plus hours in a week, I have to do something that I really truly enjoy. And that's when I decided that I'm going to let's give this a shot and see how that works. So I started building my experience from there. Like doing I worked at Darden School of Business in their admissions office for a few years. I was there for over 2 years. And then Infosys happened, and started getting more and more into the recruiting space, tech recruiting. And then when I started getting more opportunities, I started spreading my experience to different areas of the business. So it's not just tech, it's tech. It was sales and business development, and now here I'm a product design recruiter, which is very different from what I've done earlier. But the skill sets to kind of become a recruiter is something that I enjoyed, and I built on that basically.
Yes, that totally makes sense. And you're someone who, when we chatted offline, you spoke about how you took sabbatical early on in your career in order to raise a family, including two kids. What would you like to share to a lot of women out there, or even men actually, who are looking to take a career break to do such a thing? Sometimes they think that it impacts their long-term career, but you managed to take it and were quite successful at it.
Yeah, so I think the mindset has really shifted from what I'm seeing. When I also took a sabbatical, that fear was in my mind. Oh my God, like what am I going to do? But at that point, I knew that my kids were a priority. I needed to give them time. That was definitely my I would not trade anything for that. So that was very clear, and I had decided that we'll kind of deal with that situation when I come to that point, right? So when I had to take the sabbatical, I didn't think about the repercussions as much because I needed to do that so badly. But when I went back after my sabbatical, I was pleasantly surprised that people here in the US, especially, they were very open to kind of having people come back on, like whoever's taken, a mother or father, whoever, right? So that was it was a pleasant surprise for me to kind of see that mindset, which I wouldn't have expected maybe 10 years before that. Right? The mindset has shifted. Do what you need to do. Enjoy the sabbatical, because people take a sabbatical for a reason. Either it's to take care of kids or family or elderly parents. So do it if you need to do it, and life will come back on track when it has to.
Now, diving into the world of recruiting, through your years of experience, you've looked at so many candidates who walked in, candidates who've been really successful through the interviewing process and at the company. What are some of the things that you've noticed within them that makes them so successful? And with the COVID environment today, how has hiring changed virtually?
Yeah, so a few things. So when we are looking at talent, right, I'll address this separately. So when we are looking at talent, we are looking at candidates who are the closest match, the closest fit. And that has also shifted over the years, I would say, because, and it's also a big piece of that goes in shifting the mindset of the interviewers, because earlier, from what I've seen, is interviewers wanted like almost a perfect match, like someone who meets this, and this. But over time, as we've seen so much growth happening in companies, especially at Amazon Web Services when I was there, now even at Meta, the rate of growth is so rapid that if we don't hire at that pace, our business is going to get impacted. So we have been coaching our interviewers, saying that, okay, if you have a candidate that meets 70% of the criteria, and who's very eager to learn, his learning or being curious is very high, that's something that we need to really focus more on, and give that candidate a chance, because that really is the key, especially in today's market when there's just so much opportunity out there for people. If you want retention, you want to kind of be flexible, open-minded, and give that chance to a candidate. They're willing to kind of be a part of the organization. So that definitely, and candidates want that, especially as you said, COVID. How has this changed, right? In COVID, the ways of interviewing has changed, because candidates, first of all, want a lot of flexibility. People are used to working remotely now, from anywhere, and that's a big plus for the candidates, because now even the companies are have been very open to that. For example, Meta's example, like there were many roles earlier where the company needed to have candidates around the offices. But now, in the last year, there's so many remote roles that have opened up, which was not the case earlier. So that way it has changed, right? In terms of how we look at talent, where the location of our talent, right? We are very flexible about that, which means that we are actually able to target real good talent anywhere in the country. So that has changed. COVID has definitely changed that, and which helps us grow our teams with the same pace as the business is growing with the right talent, because of this. So that's something that I've seen in COVID interviewing. And also another thing that I've noticed is interviewing patterns have changed, because everything is behind the screen now, right? Most of our interviews, right from initial round to the final round, is all on Zoom or something, of the internal chat. So it has shifted in a way that earlier we could meet in person. So, there was an impact of body language, tone, and things like that, right? A face to the name kind of a thing in person, versus here it is the 45, 50-minute, whatever you get with one person to discuss or chat. The candidate needs to make the best impression at, in that limited time. So that has changed in the sense that everyone, the way of interviewing is different. Style of interviewing is different. Some some candidates feel great about it, because they feel, okay, it's so convenient, I just have to come down to another room and like have an interview. Whereas some people think, oh, maybe I could have done better if I was in person, right? But I think over the last maybe 15 months, candidates have also gotten used to this pattern of interviewing, and our interview times have shortened. First it was longer, so even our teams have realized that we can about 40 to 45 minutes we can kind of have a wrap up a good interview. So those times have changed as well. So those are the changes that I'm seeing from interviewing standpoint, and how candidates kind of respond to those kind of interviews.
That's really helpful to know, because even now, like in the markets today where there are so many jobs available, but it's hard to find like the top talent. What are companies doing today that to really maintain and retain this top talent to avoid too much of attrition?
Yeah, so I think just being flexible. I think that's companies have shifted their mindset to being more flexible to how many days they want to potentially come to the office later on, right? Like I think that's a big piece of how companies are shifting their mindset, because candidates, there are enough number of other companies that are offering those. So even big companies like Meta, who at one point never offered so many remote roles, is offering remote roles right now, just because if they don't offer these things that other companies are offering, candidates prefer the flexibility. They prefer the autonomy to decide whether they want to go or not, whether they want to relocate or not. So that's something that has been a big shift, and companies are they realize that if they don't offer that, they are not going to be able to retain top talent, of course.
My last question, really to you, Savita, is you're someone that's balancing your personal, professional all the time. That juggle is there for you. How are you constantly innovating, growing, and pushing yourself further, both personally and professionally? And as a follow up to that, what is your personal mantra for success?
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance here. So it is not easy, I have to say. It's a lot of juggle, especially which stage of parenthood you are in. It differs from that stage to stage. My daughters now are in 5th grade and 7th grade, so they are independent, but yes, they need to be driven around. They need my time. So I think prioritizing is very important from what I have seen. Like what in my experience I've realized that there's some things that I absolutely cannot compromise on, and some things I will move around, right? So things around, so that's why flexibility for me is the most important thing, to be able to be in an environment that allows flexibility. Like if I have a doctor's appointment or things like that, I should not be able to, I should be able to easily do it and not ask people permissions and things like that, right? Or can I do this? Because then that mindset, I wanted to be in that environment. So selecting the right company to kind of that'll fit your needs at that point, for me was important, and I'm blessed that I have that right now. Secondly, I also think organizing your time. I think one is prioritizing, but also being able to like block times on your calendar to do things that really require brain space. For me, for example, recruiting, right? When I'm looking at candidates, when I'm evaluating profiles, I require an environment where I don't have like my kids coming or going, or phones ringing. So I block my time in the day to kind of do those heavy lifting, like brain focused activities, right? So I kind of block that time. For me, that has helped a lot. And also kind of asking yourself, what is it that you want from a job, whether it's just a job, whether what is giving you fulfillment. I think for me, that's been my mantra for success, because I wanted to always do things that pushed me to going to the next level. So talking to different people, I think for me was also just kind of understanding what different teams are doing, how different companies operate, right? So for me, that was important, to kind of just see what's out there. Also networking was something that I enjoy doing, and also understanding best practices, for example, relating to my work, right? So that's something that I started aligning my timelines, and also just my meetings according to what I want to kind of figure out from those conversations, right? What gives me joy, what gives me fulfillment. So it's different for every person. for me, it was, just being able to spend my time, those 40 plus hours, doing things I really enjoy, where I can add value. So, one is obviously candidate engagement, mapping them to the right roles with the businesses I support. Secondly, also understanding what the businesses want, working backwards, right? Like kind of seeing what do you want and how can we collaborate to kind of find the right talent. So I love those pieces of my job, and which helps me kind of keep going, because it's not an easy role that where people think, oh, it's just talking to candidates and just doing things and pushing them along. It's not like that. It's a lot more than that. And if you don't enjoy that, then you would not like what I'm doing probably. But find something that you enjoy doing. It could be like reporting, analytics, whatever it is. But that would be my advice to whoever wants to seek a new opportunity, or just go back from a sabbatical. Find some things that will excite you or challenge you to kind of keep going.
Absolutely.
Ahead.
And even like after 15 to 20 years of work experience, you still enjoy what you do. Like that is something that not many people do. So I think it's something to be really grateful and lucky to have.
Yeah, no, and again, you make those choices, right? Like from a CPA, I completely shifted to doing this because I realized after one point I couldn't just deal with numbers all the time. Like, I couldn't do that. But then also taking that leap and believing that you can do it. It doesn't come sometimes easily. It doesn't come right away. Sometimes it can take 4 or 5 months. I tell a lot of my friends or colleagues, or people who want to get back to work, especially women. A lot of my friends who've taken a long break and they want to get back, and all these are educated, smart women, and I'm like, just take job hunting as a job in itself, because you learn so much in the process. And then it's always something is going to work out. Just don't lose hope, and think of things that you will enjoy doing. Finally.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very good positive note to end this conversation. Thank you so much again for joining us. I'm going to incorporate your LinkedIn just so if anyone has any questions or would like to reach out, they can connect with you and just take it from there. But thank you again for joining us. And
thank you, Sal. This has been nice.
Career.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.